What's going on YouTube, Ferocity? I hope you guys are doing well. With XDefiant's launch fast approaching, I think it's important for us to lay out some expectations for this game from the community. So I'm going to reach out to you at the start of this video and ask you what your expectations are of XDefiant. Do you think it's the COD killer? Do you think it's going to be the next big thing? Or do you think it's going to be a flop? Now, for me, I don't want to set my expectations so high that it's really hard for XDefiant to hit them, but I also don't want to set them so low that XDefiant trips over them. So I got to find that middle ground, and I think what I've been able to do is outline what I hope this game can achieve, as well as set some standards that Ubisoft needs to be held accountable to. And the first standard that they need to be held accountable to is their servers. And this is the number one issue people had coming out of the beta and the server test sessions. They need to be stable. They need to be consistent, and it needs to be the last thing that the player base needs to worry about if this game is to be successful. And I don't think it's too high of an expectation to say, I want a stable experience 95% of the time. I totally acknowledge the fact that there's going to be times where the game is going to be unstable, where they're not going to have everything running optimally. And as long as that's communicated with us, I think that's going to be fine. But for the majority of the experience, it needs to be stable, it needs to be consistent, and that can just be the bare minimum expectation here. You cannot have the servers that you had during the beta and during the server test sessions. It's not going to fly. Simple as that. Now, speaking, of course, of transparency and communication, I think they've done a really good job so far of staying true to what they're trying to be, which is honest and forthright. I don't think they're trying to muddy the waters between their community and the development team. I think they're trying to be pretty honest and open, and that needs to stay the same way. So when the game's not running optimally, be honest about it. Don't try to hide it from the community. Say, hey, we've heard you, we're working on it. This is hopefully when the fix is going to come live. And just continue that consistent communication, and I don't think you're going to have much of an issue from this community. I think people are going to be able to understand it, and they're going to be able to have expectations that you can meet. Just set the standard early on and say, this is how we're going to support the game. This is how you can reach out to us with our bugs and our issues. And maybe it's a Trello board similar to what MW3 does. But maybe it's one that's actually consistently updated. Maybe it's one that actually has real timelines on it. And that's all the community can ask for. And again, I don't think that this is an outlandish ask. I just want it to be something that is standard across this entire industry. And speaking of standards across the industry, I also want to see the quality of this game increase over time. I think the standard that they set at the start of this game's life cycle needs to be far inferior to what it is a year, year and a half into XDefiant's lifestyle. Heck, even 3 months into the game. I want there to be vast improvements. I want them to learn and grow and evolve. Something that games today don't always do. And this isn't just a content side of things. This is content updates as well. Ensuring that quality supersedes quantity. Making sure that quality updates that are polished are being pushed through instead of just throwing out broken updates that break the game. It's pretty standard across this industry right now to just release updates and think it's going to fix the game when in fact it breaks it. So XDefiant breaking that mold and going in a different direction and actually trying to address quality concerns will be a step in the right direction. Again, I said it earlier, I don't think this is too hard of an expectation to hit. It just means you have to care about your game. But how should the game evolve over time? What should we look for? Should the gameplay be vastly different season to season, month to month? What should we look for in that? And for me, from an expectation standpoint, I want the core gameplay to stay the same. I want arcade, fast-paced shooter fun. That's what I want the focus to be, while also being able to maintain a variety of new content that comes into the game. I want to see new weapons, new maps, new modes, events, challenges that give you honest rewards, new factions that change up the gameplay. Because when you add a new faction to a game like this, it is going to change the core gameplay experience. Again, there's going to be aspects that are the same, that arcade feel, but how do the new factions balance out with other ones? How do they counteract certain strategies? And I think that needs to be the focus there. It should add a layer to the skill gap. It should add a layer to the tactical side of this game. And I think that's important. They need to maintain that. They need to uphold that. And I think they need to take honest feedback and grow with it so that it doesn't affect the core gameplay experience. Because, like I've said, and I'll regurgitate it again, they have a really good core gameplay right now. They just need to continually evolve it, enhance it, and make sure that it gets better over time. Simple as that. And I don't think that that, again, is too high of an expectation. Now, of course, I want to talk about the monetization side of things here because I know that I'm a major detractor when it comes to microtransactions in other games. And I talk so often about how it breaks the immersion of the game and it breaks the identity. And I don't want to see that happen to XDefiant. I don't want them to break the mold and just try to go outlandish and egregious the same way Call of Duty has. No, stay true to these series that you have. There's a reason why you have these factions. It's in homage to your different franchises under the Ubisoft banner. So stay true to that. Work within the confines of that and create something special. And that way, I think you don't have to introduce this egregious side of things. Yes, you can get a little wacky, you get a little crazy, but of course, if you stay to the core standard that you've set, the core identity that you have, I don't think there's going to be any issues with monetization in this game. I don't think there's going to be any issues with pushing microtransactions. It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. So I'm very curious to see what comes of the Battle Pass. I know that that's going to be announced on Monday, so we'll cover that on probably late Monday night, because I'm very curious to see what comes out concerning the Battle Pass, because it'll sort of set the standard and let us know what the cosmetic situation is going to be. I do personally believe that some of their rewards need to be decent cosmetics from challenges, not just from completing the Battle Pass. They need to be challenges that you complete in the game to keep that feeling of earning something while you play. I think that's really important, and not trying to bog down the challenge system to only associate with the Battle Pass. I think that would be a mistake. Or making the challenge system only for weapon skins. Again, a mistake. And speaking of bogging down, and I don't want to see XDefiant go the route of Call of Duty where they're just adding a bunch of content in to add fluff to the game. Keep things streamlined, whether it's your attachments, whether it's your weapon camos, whether it's your cosmetics. Keep it streamlined. Don't just try to bog the game down with adding as much stuff as you can so that it appears that you have a plethora of options when in reality the options are very, very slim. And that's a big frustration and sticking point I have with Call of Duty. But that's kind of it for expectations. Like, I don't think XDefiant is going to absolutely blow everyone's socks off. I don't think it's going to be the massive COD killer that some people think it's going to be. I have very tempered expectations for this game. I want it to be good. I want it to be the COD killer. I'd love it to absolutely crush every expectation I have. But I think the core expectations I have for this game, good servers, consistent quality assurance, making sure that the content stays true to its identity and to the core gameplay experience, but evolving over time, allowing that variety to come through the game. I think these are very easy expectations for them to knock out of the park. But if they do miss them, I think that we'll lead into a very disappointing situation where XDefiant might suffer and they might not be able to succeed, especially from the server side of things. And maybe even from the microtransaction side of things. But maybe they can get a little bit more of an excuse because they are free to play. But I'll still call it out nonetheless. But that's it for the video. That's all the time I have. I'm tired of showing you guys the same gameplay. I know. I'm sorry. I will have more gameplay once XDefiant releases. This is just all that I have right now. I had to clean out so much of my hard drive. I wasn't allowed to keep a lot of my XDefiant gameplay. Anyways, that's it for the video. I'm sorry again. I'm so excited for this game. If you enjoyed the video, like button's down below. So is the subscribe button if you guys want to see more of this kind of content. Both of that stuff is down there. More XDefiant will be covered throughout this game's life cycle. So stay tuned to this channel. Stay tuned to future content. And I'll see you guys next time.